The howling winds of Hurricane Elena battered the windows of our small Miami apartment, threatening to break through at any moment. And in that terrifying instant, Presley looked at me with eyes full of years of unspoken pain and said, "Eleanor, I've been in love with you since the day you brought your girlfriend Sophia home to our place." I froze, the power flickering as the storm raged on outside, my mind racing to make sense of what she had just confessed. This couldn't be happening. Presley, my roommate for the past 2 years, the one who had always been there through late nights and bad days, was telling me she loved me? The same Presley who had smiled politely when I introduced Sophia as my close friend, but who I now realized had been hiding something much deeper. Rain lashed the glass like angry fists, and the emergency radio in the corner crackled with warnings about flooding in the streets below. We were trapped, no way out until the authorities cleared the roads, and suddenly the tiny 2-bedroom space felt smaller than a prison cell. My hands shook as I set down the flashlight I had been clutching, its beam cutting across Presley's face, highlighting the tears she wasn't even trying to hide anymore. "What are you talking about?" I managed to choke out, my voice barely louder than the thunder rolling over the building. "You can't just drop that on me right now, Presley. We're in the middle of a hurricane." She didn't back down. Instead, she stepped closer, her bare feet silent on the hardwood floor we had picked out together at that flea market last summer. "I know the timing is awful, Eleanor, but I've held it in for 6 months ever since that dinner. You two laughed at the table, her hand on your knee under the cloth, and I sat there pretending to be happy for you while something inside me cracked wide open. I realized I wasn't just jealous of Sophia. I was in love with you." The words hit like the wind outside, knocking the breath from my lungs. I backed up until my shoulders hit the kitchen counter, the same counter where we had shared coffee every morning, talking about work and dreams and nothing important. How had I missed it? I thought back to that night, the one she mentioned. Sophia had driven down from Orlando for the weekend, excited to finally meet the roommate I talked about so much. I had told my family it was just a friend visit, because admitting I was bringing home my girlfriend would have meant admitting everything I had hidden from them for years. My mother in Texas still sent me Bible verses about finding a good man, still asked when I would settle down and give her grandkids the old-fashioned way. Bringing Sophia to meet the roommate had felt like a safe test run, a way to live my truth in private without the explosion I knew was coming. But now Presley was forcing it all into the open right here with the city shutting down around us. "This is insane," I whispered, more to myself than to her. "You're straight, Presley. You've dated guys. That one from the gym last year, remember?" She laughed, but it was bitter, broken. "I thought I was supposed to. Everyone expects it. My parents back in Ohio still think I'm the perfect daughter who'll marry some nice boy and have the white picket fence. But watching you with Sophia that night, seeing how you looked at her, it woke me up. I couldn't pretend anymore. Every time you came home after seeing her, I died a little more inside. I love you, Eleanor. Not as a friend. As more." The storm screamed louder, as if agreeing with the chaos she had unleashed. I slid down the counter until I was sitting on the cold tile, knees pulled to my chest. My phone buzzed in my pocket, Sophia's name flashing on the screen, but I couldn't answer it. Not yet. Not with Presley's confession still hanging in the air like the humidity that refused to leave even with the AC dead. What was I supposed to do now? Tell her it was impossible? Tell her I loved Sophia? Or admit that something in me had shifted the moment she spoke? A crack in the life I had so carefully built? The power died completely then, plunging us into darkness except for the flashlight beam bouncing between us. Presley didn't move. She just waited, her breathing steady despite the tears. I knew this was only the beginning. The hurricane outside would pass, but the one she had started inside me might destroy everything I thought I knew about myself, my family, and the future I had planned so meticulously. Hours crawled by in the blackout, the radio spitting updates about roads closed and shelters filling up downtown. Presley finally sat across from me on the living room rug, the flashlight between us like a tiny campfire in the storm. "Say something, Eleanor. Anything. Yell at me if you have to." Her voice was raw, stripped of the easy confidence she usually wore like armor at her graphic design job. I rubbed my temples, trying to sort the whirlwind in my head. Sophia's texts kept coming, worried messages about the hurricane and whether I was safe, but I silenced the phone. How could I explain this to her? "I don't know what to say," I admitted finally. You waited 6 months to tell me? Why now, when we can't even leave? She shrugged, but her shoulders stayed tense. Because the storm made everything feel urgent. Like if I didn't speak, I might never get another chance. Remember that night with Sophia? You cooked pasta, opened that cheap red wine, and she told stories about her law school days. I watched you light up in a way I had never seen before. It hit me then, Eleanor. I had spent 2 years convincing myself my feelings were just admiration, roommate loyalty. But it was love. Real, terrifying love. I flashed back to the details she was describing. Sophia had worn that blue dress I loved, her hand brushing mine every time she reached for the bread. Presley had been quiet that evening, clearing plates with quick efficiency, excusing herself early to work on a deadline. I had chalked it up to her being tired. Now I saw it for what it was, a mask cracking under the weight of what she couldn't say. You acted normal after. I accused, the hurt rising sharp. We went to the movies the next weekend like nothing happened. You helped me pick out anniversary flowers for Sophia. Presley winced. I had to. If I showed how much it hurt, you'd have questions I wasn't ready for. My family, Eleanor, they're like yours. Dad still sends me articles about traditional values. Mom calls every Sunday asking about my dating life, meaning men. Coming out to them would mean losing the only support I have left after college loans and everything. I chose silence to protect myself. Until tonight. The wind howled again, shaking the building so hard the books on our shelf trembled. My own family pressure flooded in then, uninvited. Last month Mom had driven down for a surprise visit, hinting strongly that her church friend had a son my age, perfect for me. Eleanor, you're not getting any younger, she had said over coffee. A woman needs a man to build a life with. I had nodded along, stomach twisting, because admitting I was gay would shatter her world. Sophia and I kept our relationship quiet precisely because of that. Stolen weekends and careful social media posts that never tagged each other. Now Presley's words threatened to drag it all into daylight. What do you want from me? I asked, voice cracking. To leave Sophia? To risk everything? She reached out, but stopped short of touching my knee. I don't want to force anything. I just needed you to know. The rest is your choice. But I can't keep pretending I'm okay watching you love someone else. My chest tightened with the moral weight of it. Was it fair to Sophia to even entertain this? Was it fair to myself to ignore the spark I suddenly felt? The way Presley's honesty made Sophia's steady affection feel almost safe but not alive. The radio announced more flooding, power out for days possibly. We were stuck together, no escape from the conversation or the feelings. I stood up, pacing to the window to watch palm trees bend double in the gale. This changes everything, Presley. You know that. She nodded, eyes never leaving me. I do. And I'm ready to pay whatever price comes next. Her words lingered as thunder rolled closer. Deep down, I wondered if I was ready too. Or if this confession would force me to betray someone no matter which way I turned. Dawn broke gray and battered outside. The hurricane downgraded to tropical storm but still trapping us with downed power lines and flooded streets. Presley made instant coffee on the camp stove we kept for emergencies, handing me a mug without a word. The silence between us now felt heavier than the confession itself. I need to tell you the rest, she said quietly, stirring her own cup. That night with Sophia wasn't the start. It was the moment I stopped lying to myself. Before that, I thought my feelings were one-sided admiration. You were the organized one, the planner, the woman who always knew what to wear to client meetings. I fell for your strength first, then everything else. I sipped the bitter coffee, letting it burn my tongue as a distraction. Sophia had texted again at sunrise, asking if she should drive down once roads cleared. I hadn't replied. Guilt gnawed at me. Sophia and I have been together 2 years, I said. She's steady supportive. Her family knows and accepts us. Mine doesn't. If I even hint at this, my mom will disown me. Dad will quote scripture until I give in. They've already threatened to cut the college fund they still help with if I choose the wrong path. Presley set her mug down hard. I know that pressure. My brother came out as gay 5 years ago. They haven't spoken to him since. I watched it happen and swore I'd never put them through it. But loving you quietly was killing me slower than any family rejection ever could. Her honesty cracked something open in me. I remembered the arguments with Sophia about coming out publicly. She wanted parades and pride events. I wanted quiet safety. Presley had never pushed, just listened when I vented. Now her love felt like a mirror to my own fears. What if I feel something back? I whispered, the words escaping before I could stop them. What if this storm is forcing me to see what I've ignored? Her eyes lit up, hopeful but cautious. Then we figure it out together. But I won't be the reason you lose Sophia or your family. You have to choose without guilt. The phone rang, then my mother's number. I answered on speaker without thinking, the storm still rumbling faintly. Eleanor, honey, are you okay? We saw the news about Miami. Your father wants you to come home until it's safe. Her voice was warm but laced with the usual undercurrent. And how's that nice roommate of yours? Presley, right? Maybe introduce her to some of the boys from church next time you're up. I glanced at Presley, her face paling. The irony burned. Here she was, confessing love, while my mother plotted heterosexual futures for both of us. We're fine, Mom. Just waiting it out. I hung up quickly, heart pounding. See? That's the world waiting for me outside this apartment. Presley crossed her arms. Then maybe it's time to stop waiting for their approval. I've lost sleep wondering if I'd ever be enough for you. Now I know the risk, but I'd rather face it than keep hiding. Tension crackled between us like the lightning outside. I felt the betrayal forming already, toward Sophia, toward my parents, toward the safe life I had clung to. Yet Presley's presence made the apartment feel alive in a way it never had. The moral dilemma settled heavy on my chest. Choosing her meant trading one family for another. One truth for a harder one. The day dragged on with more radio updates and shared stories of past heartbreaks. By evening, I knew the confession had started a chain reaction I couldn't stop. The second night brought clearer skies but still no power or escape. Presley and I rationed the last of the canned soup, eating by candlelight on the balcony where wind no longer threatened to blow us away. Remember when we first moved in? She asked, trying to steer us toward lighter ground. You insisted on color-coding the kitchen cabinets. I thought you were crazy, but it worked. I smiled despite everything, the memory warm. You retaliated by reorganizing my closet by season. We balance each other. The easy rhythm felt fragile now, laced with the undercurrent of her admission. Sophia had called twice that afternoon, voice tight with worry. I can come down tomorrow if the highway's open, she said. I miss you, Elle. I had murmured agreement, but my eyes kept drifting to Presley across the room. Guilt twisted deeper. She's coming, I told Presley after hanging up. Once road's clear. I have to face her. Presley's jaw tightened. And tell her what? That your roommate dropped a bomb. I shook my head. I don't know yet. This isn't just about us. My job at the agency, they have that big conservative client. One rumor and I'm out. Sophia's firm is progressive, but mine isn't. Family money helps with rent. Losing that means starting over. She nodded slowly. I get it. My freelance gigs barely cover my half. If my parents cut me off completely, I'd be homeless. But Eleanor, love isn't supposed to be this calculated. I watched my brother lose everything for honesty. He says it's still worth it. Her words stirred the awakening I had fought since the first confession. I thought of the day I brought Sophia home, how Presley's laugh had sounded forced, how she had excused herself to the balcony for fresh air. I had ignored the signs because facing them meant questioning my own settled life. Now the storm had stripped away the distractions. What if I choose wrong? I asked aloud. Betray Sophia, lose my family, and realize this was just storm-induced madness? Presley reached across the small table, her fingers brushing mine for the first time since the confession. The touch sent electricity through me, real and undeniable. Then I pay the price too. I lose you as a roommate, as a friend. But at least I won't spend another year wondering. The conversation stretched late, trading vulnerabilities. She told me about the college girlfriend she had hidden from everyone. The one her family never knew about. I confessed my fear of becoming the family disappointment, the daughter who chose wrong. By midnight, the moral lines blurred further. Sophia's texts glowed on my phone, full of love and plans. Presley's eyes held something deeper, raw and earned through silence. When sleep finally came on the couch, our shoulders touching by accident, I knew the confrontation waiting outside would demand choices no one could walk away from unscathed. Roads opened by midday on the third day, sunlight breaking through clouds that had held us hostage. Sophia arrived first, pulling up in her SUV with emergency supplies and a worried smile. Presley stayed in her room giving us space, but I felt her presence like a shadow. "The apartment looks okay," Sophia said, hugging me tight in the doorway. "You must have been terrified." I returned the embrace, but it felt different now, layered with the secret Presley had planted. We sat at the kitchen table, the same one from that fateful dinner, while I tried to keep my voice steady. "It was bad, but we managed." Sophia's eyes searched mine. "We?" Presley helped. The name alone made my stomach drop. I nodded, avoiding details. Then Presley emerged, polite but distant. "Hey, Sophia. Glad you're here." The air thickened instantly. Sophia sensed it, her lawyer instincts kicking in. "Everything all right between you two? You seem off." I hesitated, the betrayal forming on my tongue. Presley excused herself to check the mail, leaving us alone. "There's something." I started, heart hammering. During the storm, Presley told me she has feelings for me. Romantic feelings. Sophia froze, coffee mug halfway to her lips. "What?" Her face shifted from shock to hurt to anger in seconds. "And you? Do you feel the same?" The question hung like the storm clouds returning. I thought of my family's expectations, the job risks, the life we had built together. "I don't know. It's complicated." Sophia stood abruptly. "Complicated? We've been together 2 years, Eleanor. I introduced you to my parents, defended us at work events. Now a hurricane hits and suddenly your roommate is an option." Her voice rose, drawing Presley back into the room. Confrontation exploded then. Sophia accused me of emotional cheating, Presley defended her honesty, and I stood between them, the one who had to choose. "This isn't fair to any of us," I shouted over their voices. "My family already pressures me to be someone I'm not. Adding this splits me in half." Sophia grabbed her keys. "Figure it out before I come back. I won't compete with a secret." She left, slamming the door, tires squealing on the still wet street. Presley turned to me, eyes wet again. "I never meant to cause this. But I can't apologize for loving you." The aftermath left me reeling. Calls from my mother came next, sensing something wrong in my voice. "Honey, you sound stressed. Come home for a bit. Meet some nice people." The coded message was clear. I hung up crying, the social prejudice and family weight crushing me. Presley held me through it. No demands, just presence. The price of truth was mounting, relationships fracturing, futures uncertain. Yet in the quiet after, I felt the awakening start, the realization that hiding had cost more than any confession ever could. Weeks after the hurricane cleared, the city hummed back to normal, but our apartment and my life never would. Sophia and I ended things over a final coffee downtown, her hurt turning to quiet acceptance. "You deserve honesty, Eleanor. I just wish it wasn't with her." I didn't argue. The breakup freed me but left scars. Work rumors started anyway. The conservative client pulling back, my boss hinting at personal matters affecting performance. Family calls escalated, mom demanding explanations for canceled visits. "If you're seeing someone inappropriate, we need to talk," she said one evening, voice cold. I finally said it. "Mom, I'm gay. I've always been. Presley isn't just a roommate anymore." The line went silent, then tears and scripture and threats to cut financial help. Dad took the phone, disappointment thick. "We raised you better." The rejection stung deeper than the storm ever had, but it also liberated something. Presley and I navigated the new terrain carefully. No rush, just honest conversations in small steps. She faced her own family fallout when she came out fully, brother reaching out in support while parents withdrew. We both paid prices, jobs shifting, friendships straining under prejudice, moral questions lingering about loyalty and timing. Yet every morning coffee together felt like choosing truth over safety. One evening on the same balcony where winds once howled, Presley took my hand. "Was it worth it?" she asked softly. "All the damage?" I looked at her, the woman whose confession had forced me to wake up, and knew the answer in my bones. The controversial choice had cost family, stability, and peace, but it had given me authenticity I never knew I needed. As city lights flickered on below, I realized the real question wasn't for me anymore. Was choosing love over everything familiar the right decision, or the ultimate betrayal of the life I was supposed to live? True or false?